Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. A couple of stories for us to talk about. Arsenal are backing for MOUSSA DIBAY. They do like him. And according to Fabrizio Romano, they would love to explore a deal in January or even in the summer. We'll talk about Ismail Bennacer, who will not actually extend his contract with AC Milan. Chelsea and Arsenal are ready to bid for the player in January. AC Milan are not ready to sell. Barcelona want Charlie Patino, and Saka's deadlock could actually harden after the World Cup, plus Nico Williams and Christian Pulisic updates in this video. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We're very close to 60,000 subscribers. Actually, we are only 400 subscribers away. If you hit the like button, if you subscribe, we will get there. Now, first and foremost, I want us to talk about Ismail Bennacer, former Arsenal player, of course, playing in midfield, one of the highly rated midfielders in Europe right now. I don't think it really starts for AC Milan, but Milan do want to keep him. They're proposing a new deal for the player, but however, the player and his representatives have actually told them they won't be staying in Milan. They won't be staying in Italy. He's gonna be moving on. Chelsea, Arsenal are two of the clubs that I know are massively interested. Arsenal apparently want to offer 50 million euros for Ismail Bennacer, and Chelsea want to offer 48 million euros for Ismail Bennacer. Now, this is where I know the story is not right. This is where I know that there is something wrong with the story. With the player left with 1 year on his deal in the summer, he might be a free agent. I don't see how Arsenal splash 50 million euros on his contract, to buy his contract. I don't see how we stupidly leave Yuri Tielemans, who is going to cost us around 20 million euros with all this with all this Premier League experience, with all this experience in the Premier League, to go and sign Ismail Bennacer, who is playing in the Italian Serie A, for 50 million euros. This has been at Arsenal, probably understand the culture of the club, and he knows what Arsenal means, but in my opinion, that is just too much. Now, if Chelsea did go in for him and signed him for 48 million euros, I would understand. Chelsea having Todd Boehly running their business, they always do all these crazy businesses all the time, like signing players they actually don't need for very, very scary amounts of money. But in the last 2-3 years, Arsenal have really worked on that. Actually, part of our progress is due to our discipline, financial discipline in the transfer market, trying to find the right players and the right prices at the right time for the right project. So I like Ismail Bennacer, and I think Arsenal, if we do not get Yuri Tielemans and we signed Ismail Bennacer, it's more like the same. He's a very, very good player, especially if you want to play him as a number 8. Very good on the ball. I think he's very, very talented, highly gifted as well. But I don't see how we pay 50 million euros for a player whose contract has 1 year. It's just very, very open. That's why we didn't sign Yuri Tielemans for 30 million euros in the summer. We like him. We rate him highly. Mikel Arteta really, really wants him badly. But he said, I cannot pay 30 million euros for a player who I can get for free in the summer. And besides, even if you don't get Yuri Tielemans or Ismail Bennacer, players like Ruben Neves are still available. You can get him. For me, I think players like Carlos Soler at PSG, eventually he will be available. I think there's so many players you can get in central midfield. So I like Bennacer, and I think Milan do not have a huge use for him. I think Tonali and Charles De Ketelaere do form their midfield, and of course a few other players, so they can easily let Ismail Bennacer go. But I don't see how we pay all that much money for him. Now, according to reliable sources, Arsenal still interested in signing MOUSSA DIBAY, French international playing at Bayer Leverkusen. He was a topic in the summer, wasn't he? We did talk about much about him, in the summer. Him to Arsenal, Stan Kroenke approving the deal and all that, but eventually it did not happen. Now, I want to remind you, the player himself came out in June and confirmed that he had decided to stay with Bayer Leverkusen for another season and see how his development is gonna go and see how things are actually going to work out. Now, I think MUDRYK is a deal that Arsenal do want, but it's a risky one. It's a very, very risky one. Look, it reminds me of that Lisandro Martinez deal. Not in a way that the player doesn't want to play for us, no, or he would choose another club over us. No, that is out of the question. Actually, Mikhailo Mudryk would choose Arsenal all day, every day over any other club because of Alexander Zinchenko and probably partly because of Alexander Zinchenko's wife. I hope I've not said that in a very, very wrong way. But I mean, the interview and all that, right? During that interview, both of them said they wish they talk again when while they are Ghanaians, right? I presume Alexander Zinchenko's wife is already Ghana because the husband plays for Arsenal, and I think what the statement meant was Mikhailo Mudryk should join Arsenal so that by the time they talk again, or by the time they get an interview again, Mudryk is an Arsenal player. But it's a risky one where Shakhtar are going to be holding out for a huge transfer fee, and this is what happened with Lisandro Martinez and Arsenal, Man United, and Ajax in the summer. Ajax wanted a bidding war between Man United and Arsenal said, we're not giving you that, we are actually walking away. Despite the fact that we walked away, Man United still paid over £60 million. Yes, for me, he's one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League right now, but all I'm trying to say is that there was no bidding war, so Man United could have got him for around 50 or around £45 million. So I don't think Arsenal will enter a bidding war for Mikhailo Mudryk, especially in January. Not even in the summer will we enter into a bidding war. And if you look at all the other talents available on the market, Leroy Sané, Marco Asensio, and now Moussa Diaby, there is no reason for us to overpay for the services of Mikhailo Mudryk. Now, Moussa Diaby, you know me, like guys, I like him so much. He's one of those players that I really feel have got something very special about him. Actually, if Arsenal really wanted to sign Marcus Rashford, we should sign Moussa Diaby. I think he's got the ingredients of Marcus Rashford in his game, that kind of that little bit of patience, and also that little bit of selfishness. And you want that in your players. You want players to be patient, like when they receive the ball in wider areas, kind of wait up a little bit, wait for support, or if not, then they can't go all in and try to grab a goal. I like it with Marcus Rashford. I think it really makes him a very unique player. We've seen it against Wolves yesterday. The goals he scored, it just makes him unique. He will go for goal if there is no support, and then he will wait for support if the support is actually on its way. So Moussa Diaby, I think the price might not have changed so much, probably by January. In the summer, where I think the deal is actually more likely to happen, I think the price will have increased. Moussa Diaby is one of those players that are actually developing very well and very, very quickly. So if Arsenal want to sign him, we should be able to part with around 60 to 65 million euros, which is the whole point of us not signing Mikhailo Mudryk. So whenever I look at these deals, apart from the Marco Asensio deal and maybe a few other deals, including Facundo Torres, I feel Arsenal do have more reasons to sign Mikhailo Mudryk over all these other talents. I think what Arsenal will not want is to engage in a pricing war for Mikhailo Mudryk. If that happens, we should move on. If that happens, Arsenal should walk away. But if before that happens, I'm happy to wait until Shakhtar make up their minds, and then we can get Mikhailo Mudryk. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What you think about Moussa Diaby vis-a-vis signing Mikhailo Mudryk? Is Diaby the better guy? Last campaign, I think Diaby had better numbers than Mikhailo Mudryk. This campaign as well, Diaby is even doing better, but I think it's the Champions League highlights that Mikhailo Mudryk is creating that are actually blinding and blindfolding all the pundits and all the all the fans actually into blindly following him and actually admiring him as well. Now, we do have a problem with Bukayo Saka. A few journalists in the UK are saying Arsenal could actually face a problem with the Bukayo Saka contract after the World Cup. So the understanding here is that Bukayo Saka, after having a very, very good World Cup, if that happens, his price is actually gonna go higher. and then his demands are also going to be high as well. Arsenal might actually find it hard to cope up with the demands of the young English international, and we might actually be forced into selling. Do you think like that? Look, I do understand the hurdles. I do understand the deadlocks hardening a little bit after, Saka having a very, very good tournament, if that happens. But I don't think Arsenal will eventually fail to sign him on a new deal. I'm still looking for information about why isn't it happening. Why is this deal taking so long? All we are getting is that the player loves Arsenal, he's committed. Arsenal do have the same vision as the player and his representatives. So if we have the same vision, then something must be not happening. And that is what we want to know. What is not happening? Why isn't he signing a new deal? And all that. But in my opinion, I'm going to say this, guys. In my opinion, I highly think Saka will sign a new deal. And if he doesn't, I would be shocked. I will be very, very surprised. It's one of those pieces that will actually take me by surprise. And I will not know how to react, really. I will not know how to react. I feel Saka is very, very motivated to staying at Arsenal. I think he's very, very, attached to this Arsenal, academy and fan base. And I don't see how he leaves Arsenal. I just don't see how it doesn't really work out. Same with Charlie Patino. Barcelona are actually very much interested in signing our young starlet, Charlie Patino, the next Cesc Fabregas, like Cossy always calls him. Now, I think Barca always have that kind of very, very good test for young players. They do understand what to do when it comes to young players. They do have a very, very good, eyesight for these young players. And Charlie Patino, apart from Pedri, Gavi, Musiala, Nico Williams that we'll talk about in a few seconds, and Saka, Martinelli, Charlie Patino is one of those players that are really developing well into mature footballers. If you have had any reviews from him, from the Blackpool manager or the Blackpool fans around him, you will understand what I'm talking about. Patino is a real gem. Patino is a real generational talent. Now, Barca wanting him is a wake-up call for Arsenal, in my opinion. Look, what Barca have done is they've taken their most valuable assets for the future, Pedri, Gavi, Fati, and they've actually tied them down to long contracts up to 7 years long, with release clauses of up to $1 billion. I think it's a business model that I think Arsenal should actually pick up. Get the likes of Saka, tie them down to long-term contracts, 7 years, 8 years long, just to make sure that they have it drilled in their minds. We are going to be playing for Arsenal, and we're going to be playing for Arsenal only and Arsenal alone. But with Charlie Patino here, I think Arsenal do not need to panic. We don't need actually to interrupt his loan deal at Blackpool. Let him develop very well. Let him stay there. At the end, I think Arsenal will benefit from the services of him being there. But look, if Barca wants him, I don't think they will get him. Okay, as simple as that. They do want him. I don't think they will actually get him. Now, Arsenal also interested in Nico Williams, the Spanish international starlet that is becoming one of the hottest topics in Spanish football, but also in the World Cup right now. Now, of course, as a Spanish fan, I do understand much about Nico Williams. It's one of the reasons as to why Yerim Pino, one of the most interesting talents as well for Spain, is actually not featuring at this World Cup. Arsenal have had their sights on Nico Williams even last summer, but I don't think this one is going to happen in January, not even in the summer. I think Bilbao will be going, who do you think you are? We cannot give you this boy at this point in time. And finally, Chelsea have decided they will be selling Christian Pulisic to any club that have the money, including Arsenal, Manchester United, and any other club that actually want him. Pulisic, who's only 24, is one of the players that I really admire, but I would strongly recommend my club against signing him. He's injury prone and he's seasonal, very, very seasonal. Look, and you could see at the World Cup, he's actually doing very well. He actually managed to secure a round of 16 spot for USA, something that I really is very huge for the nation. But can he keep on doing that consistently? My answer, to him and for him is no. If he wants to be a top player, if he wants to turn his career around, wherever he plays, either under Graham Potter or under new management, he needs to find that consistency. He needs it, and he actually needs it badly. I'll speak to you very soon. Sorry for the audio. It has a small buzz sound, but I'm trying to work on it. I'm a one-man engineer. I'll work on it, and then we'll talk about more of the transfers and more of the stories later when I am back.